Epic Gaming Night is made possible by the support of patrons like you. Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night podcast, a podcast about the stories and relationships board games create. I'm your host, Roy Kennedy, and with me as always is Rob.
Hello, hello.
What's going on, man?
Just busy working, trying to be like you, man. Just trying to hustle, get some stuff done.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So
How are
much
you doing?
stuff to do. You know,
How's life with Roy Kennedy right now? You doing all right?
it's doing pretty good. I've been working on a bunch to get it ready to take to game day. But yeah, just
Sounds exciting.
hanging out, playing board games.
Oh,
trying
that
to do
thing.
videos. Say what?
Got it. That thing.
Yeah.
Got it.
But yeah, things have been pretty awesome. Are you excited about Recon that's this weekend?
I am excited for Recon.
Are you going to be able to actually relax and play games?
No, I do have to leave in the middle of it for an appointment for a couple of hours, but no. So yeah, I don't know if I'll ever be able to. The spring and summer are too crazy for me.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm still excited. I'm excited to see friends and to play games.
Mm-hmm.
I think I already have 2 games already lined up that I know I'm playing throughout the day. We're planning to play. One is definitely Shadows over Camelot, and the other one is Brass.
Nice.
And
You'll
I
have to let me
imagine
know how you like Brass, because that's definitely
probably going to get wrecked.
the deep end there.
I'm not worried about losing to Mark, but I am playing with Kent and Courtney, I believe, as well. And they will wreck me. They will wreck
sure.
me, especially if they'll wreck me. So, but I'll beat Mark. Having never played before and he plays all the time, I'll still find a way to beat Mark. And so anyway,
That's
I'm
awesome.
excited. I'm also going to try to bring Nemesis, man. I wanna play it. So, and I know Kent played it before, but he played it with people that were not myself.
Yeah, so that makes it not even close to as awesome.
Right? I think so. So,
Or at least not as
anyway,
handsome. You know.
No, definitely not as handsome. But we're gonna have a good time.
Awesome. Well, I was pretty excited. I had my first game day that I put on myself. So Heather, Scotty had spring break, so Heather was like, "I'm gonna go visit family," and I wish I could have gone up to North Carolina, but I gotta stay home and work and stuff. So I was like, "Hey, well, the family's gonna be gone this weekend. Let me see if anybody wants to come over." So I invited some coworkers over, and we got to play a couple awesome games. So I'm pretty excited to talk about those. I don't know if you've seen the pictures, but one game
I did.
that you really like, and one game that I think you backed on Kickstarter. So,
And actually, I want to talk about that. I did back it on Kickstarter, and I'm glad you played it. Because do I need to remove my backing?
awesome. Well, the game we're talking about, we'll talk about the other one in a second because I think it's Rob's favorite game, but or it was Rob's favorite game. Who knows what Rob's favorite game is now?
I don't know.
You're like, I don't even.
I
know.
say it's still my favorite, but I haven't played it in over a year.
You should, because it's good. Anyway,
You played with the new expansion?
I didn't play with the newest expansion, but I played with one of the new DLC scenarios, one that I had started with Scotty, but didn't get past the first couple rooms. But it's the one where you split up at the beginning,
Okay.
altered timelines or something like that. It's the newest DLC scenario. It was really cool because it tells you to take out the insanity cards that make you go against each other, which is kind of interesting. So all the 3+ insanity cards it takes out of the deck, but you can still go insane, but it's not going to turn you against the group. But you're on 2 different areas, but you're working together to try to make things happen, but you're split up. So I thought
That's cool.
It was pretty fun, and things you do in one reality affects the other, and you have to do things in one reality to affect the other to actually proceed in the scenario at some points. And
For
there's a
those
lot
that
of,
don't know what we're talking about Mansions of Madness.
oh yeah, Mansions of Madness, which is not the game I was going to talk about first, but I got excited because that game was a lot of fun. So after playing that, I hadn't bought the newest expansion yet, but I just like went to Cool Stuff and was like, I'm buying it. I don't care. Like, I love that game so much.
So good.
And it's like it's still like my favorite cooperative game, just because like there's so much cooperation. You're trying to complete objectives that when you start the game, you don't know what you're trying to do. You know, you just start the game just fresh, being like, okay, we're gonna explore this haunted house and read the story as we go along, and things unfold and uncover. And it's kind of interesting because in this scenario, like I guessed multiple things that like I was like, I guess we probably need to do this and we probably need to do that, not really knowing it all, but I was just like, I feel like this is what we should do. And ended up being like exactly right. But I'm never quite sure what's behind that other door that I didn't go through, you know? There's always that in the game. It's like, I don't think we should go in that door. But I wonder what was there, you know? And there's a huge sense of exploration in Mansions of Madness, and I think that's one of the reasons I love it so much. But hey, if you haven't played Mansions of Madness, like, find somebody who has a copy. If you can't afford to get one, like, go. If you're at a con, just play it with somebody. I love that game.
It's so good.
Yeah. And the DLC scenarios are pretty cool too, so I think they're worth it. I mean, I understand it's like, what are they? Like, is it almost like $5 for a scenario or something like that?
Yeah, but I mean, if you, they on average go 2 hours.
Oh yeah. And I mean, for me, it's just like I love the game so much that whenever they release one of those DLC scenarios, I immediately download it. Like I go onto the app.
It's worth the $5
because I'm like, I want them to keep making more for this game. I want them to keep like putting out content. So I'm like, I want them to see numbers of people buying it. So I'm just like auto buy. So I wish they'd just come out with more DLC scenarios because I just buy them all. I still have a few scenarios like from the new one to play and from the last one before that, the Streets of Arkham, that I haven't played yet, but I'm really excited to get those to the table as well. But yeah, that's Mansions of Madness. The other one I played. Do you want to talk about
this? Is what I want to hear about.
Okay, I'll talk about this. Tsukuyomi Full Moon Down. This is a
Yumi.
Yeah, it's an area control game where basically like the storyline is that the moon was a giant dragon egg and it crashed into Earth. And when it did, it caused all sorts of, or I guess these Oni or whatever summoned the moon down, and it crashed into Earth and it caused all these bugs to mutate and animals to mutate. It's like basically post-apocalyptic, but with like robots and stuff going on. It feels almost like a Gamma World scenario almost. You got giant bugs and giant boars running around and crazy robots and humans that are like holding on for like their last breath or whatever. But it also has like dragons and land whales and stuff like that. I play this game as the dragons, and they're a very unique faction. I think I will do a lot better next time I play it. But yeah, they're pretty cool because you have very few units, and they're really expensive to get out, but they're extremely strong. So like my one unit could take out whole armies of other people's units.
Okay.
But they would get a point if they actually killed my guy off. But if they killed my guy off, it would actually explode and kill some of their units. So it's kind of like this whole give and take of like, do we actually want to fight the dragons, or are we just going to stay away from and ignore the dragons? But it's very much an area control game where each turn you're going to have action cards that you're going to play. The backside of the action cards are all the same, which allow you to take several different actions. You can either grab event cards and play them, or you can grab one event card and play it. You can get one resource worth of units, so you can put like one unit out on the board basically. Or my dragons, I couldn't even put one out. I could like upgrade a dragon like to make it a little bit stronger. Or you could do a movement action, so you could move your characters. Or you could do a a combat action, which is where you kind of like initiate combat. It's kind of interesting in this game because the combat is very deterministic, and you have three different stats. You have a power level, which is what you need to be above your opponent to be able to take control of an area. Multiple people can be in the same area at the same time, but you have to have a higher command strength to be able to take control of the area. At the end of the game, people are going to get points based off of all the areas that they control. So you're trying to sneak in these areas and take control of them so that way you get points at the end of the game. Then your second stat is your hit points. That's how much how much damage they need to do to that unit to be able to knock it out. My dragons had like ridiculous amounts of hit points. Like I upgraded some of them and they had like 125 hit points. Like the bugs would all have like 5 hit points each, and then all of the badgers and stuff would have like 5 and 10 hit points. The robots had a little bit more. They would get up into the like 30 and 40 range, but the dragons were just like, you have to do a lot of damage to be able to take out the dragons. Then you have your combat attack, which is what you need to get over your opponent's health to be able to knock them out. Whenever you want to start a combat, you'll have selected to choose a combat action. You'll choose to do battle in that area, and then you'll play a card out. And the card basically allows you to either say you're attacking the land, which is like you're trying to conquer and take over that area and put your token out to get points, or you want to conquer and take out your opponent's guys, which normally you would do that if you don't have enough strength. You got to knock some of their guys out so that way you can end up taking over the area. It was super interesting because you're trying to all fight over like the moon area as well, because you get extra points if you get to the middle. And then there's also a bunch of NPC Onis which are there that other players can summon onto the board and use to take out some of your stuff. But then at the same time, they can use them to attack you, or they just get in the way. And there's, depending on the factions, each faction has an objective that goes into play, but anybody is able to claim the objective that faction has. Like the robots that Kenny was playing had, where they needed to defeat 3 different Oni during the game. So hey, now you might actually want to kill some of the NPCs for more than just like getting them out of the way. You can actually go get extra points by doing that. And then there's like, I think the dragons, I had to have a certain amount of territories or something like that. And then the insects were very similar, like have a bunch of different territories. So there's just all sorts of different like objectives you can try to do, whether it's territories or get a certain number of units on the board or get a bunch of different things. Then you have your own faction specific objectives, which you can do yourself to get points. And then there's a bunch of different stuff that allows you to like shift the initiative of the turns. It's just a very interesting like system of choosing these actions, then taking those actions out, and then moving around the board and then attacking each other. But there's no dice in the game. It's just my numbers, me playing the attack command to be able to actually attack your guys and wipe some of them off the board. It was pretty interesting, and the factions are very different. Like my dragons, I had very few of them, but they're very strong, and I could upgrade them because they start as like little young dragons and they get stronger. But then they also would automatically kill off people in the same space as them because they, I guess, would just have fire breath or something like that. And then if you killed them, you would get a point, but they would explode and kill your units too. So it's kind of like this whole give and take. The robots that Kenny had a bunch of really strong guys, but you could upgrade them with tons of missiles, so their attack could get ridiculously strong. Then the bugs, you could just like there was a bunch of bugs that allowed you to get more resources to build more bugs. So you just put out all these like breeder bugs that would end up giving you even more bugs. And then the badgers had all sorts of abilities to tunnel through different areas because there's like blocked terrain. They could like go through that. And then also they could do like build lots of warrens and things like that, so they could add the defense in that area and stuff like that and give their characters extra hit points and stuff. So the 4 factions we played were very, very different, even though the combat is very like deterministic, like you determine what you're going to do. I thought it was really fun. I think the miniatures are going to add a lot to the game, but I am slightly worried because there's so many different stats on all these different units that you're going to have to like reference those like crazy. It'll be interesting to play the game with the stats on your board instead of on the actual figures out there, but it'll be really cool because those miniatures look great. Do you have any specific questions or anything you were thinking about it?
Did it flow well? Was there a lot of like sit down time? Like, is it one of those things like when you're playing, when you're done with your turn, are you really done? Or like, do you have to pay attention? Like, analysis paralysis me. Would I have a problem with this game?
There was a decent amount of downtime in this game, and I mean, Sam knew how to play the game, sort of, so we were having to look up rules and things like that along the way because it's been quite a while since he had played it. And we had a couple players that weren't necessarily the fastest in the world, so there was a decent amount of downtime. But overall, I feel like if you had a good group, it could go pretty fast. But it's it's still got like turns and downtime and things. I've just been playing so many games like recently that are like so fast, like
Yeah.
do everything to like quell the downtime that
Yeah.
I could feel downtime in this a bit, but that might have just been my coworker
Because you've been
playing.
spoiled by not having any downtime.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Is this something you'd play again, honestly?
I would definitely play it again. I'd love to play some of the other factions because there were multiple factions that weren't even in the game. And I feel like that's where this game really shines, is the fact that the factions are completely different. And like
Yeah.
having different ones in the game will make the game completely different. And I feel like there's a lot of things that like if you know how to play your faction, you're going to play it a lot better because like they all have strengths and weaknesses and they all have like a way you kind of should play them probably. Which I did not really do with the dragons, even though I ended up doing pretty well in the game. I was like winning for a while, and then I was a contender for winning. And of course, that doesn't help in an area control game either. You know, everybody's like, "Well, let's kill all the
Kill
dragon
Roy.
spaces,"
Yeah.
which I mean they should have because I mean I was winning, but I mean it's kind of hard.
Did you
when-
like the combat of your numbers versus my numbers?
It was interesting. It was very.
Because that almost sounds a little bit like flipping Rex and other games like that, where it's like, okay, numbers v numbers.
It's interesting because it's not even really. It doesn't give you that same feel because it's very much like you move in and you know you're going to win the combat. There's no question about it. It's just making sure your numbers are over their numbers. There's not like a card flip that adds to like strength or defense. You do play a card that allows your opponent to take like a bonus, but that basically happens like after the effect. So there's nothing that's really going to stop you from either killing.
So
off
if
their
you know you
units.
have the numbers, you just walk in and everybody's dead.
Yeah, it could be the case, but they'll get a chance to like do a thing that could make you retreat, or do a thing that like lets their units attack you back or something like that. Depending on the card you pick, they could get to do different options and maybe take out some of your stuff on the way. But if you pick the right cards, that might not happen as much. But it's not like they get to pick cards. You pick the card and you know what their options are too before you even play it. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like I play this card to take this space. These are the options he can do to mess me up. And if you math it out, you'll know exactly what's going to happen. It's not like, well, it's like, okay, well, they're probably going to pick this. And normally that's what they do. Like, okay, they're just going to make me retreat, but hey, I killed off their units. I can move back in there and then take the space or something like that.
Yeah.
You know? So it's very deterministic in the combat. It's cool to like work at upgrading your units and figuring out which guys you're going to upgrade and which guys you're going to bring out. And there's lots of powers on all the different units and everything. Like some of the dragons had flying, and then sometimes they would get bigger and they would lose their flying as they got to higher levels. And some of them would have things that gave me extra attacks, or some would have things that would just a bunch of different abilities, like with all sorts of different things, which are really cool. And every faction is going to be very different in that aspect. So it was cool to see all the different factions, and then I would like to play the other factions again. And now that I know the rules, it could probably be taught a little bit quicker and like flow of the game. It's hard to
Yep.
it's hard for me to keep flow of the game when I don't know the rules, you know.
Yep.
So, and we were kind of learning as we went a little bit because it was 3 of us. It was our first time, so. But yeah, Tsukuyumi Full Moon Down. The miniatures look amazing.
I didn't go like all in. But I did like that middle level because those that robot faction, the camp group faction,
Oh, dude, yeah.
and then the Children of the Lion, they just look really cool. I didn't care so much about the pandas. I mean, the pandas are cool, but for some reason I just keep seeing Kung Fu Panda.
The pandas aren't even in the stuff that Sam has. But yeah, it's definitely
But,
cool that there's a bunch of different factions, and the minis look really cool. And Gray Fox
Yeah.
is an awesome company, and if anybody can do it, I know it'll be cool to see how they do with this big miniatures game. And it's already funded. So
Yeah, it's already funded, and I backed it. I think day one that it came out, but I'm excited for it.
what did you end
I'm
up getting?
excited.
Did you end up going with just the core set, or did you get
No, I went with the
robots?
yeah, I went with the one where you could get. I went the base game plus the expansion, the Full Moon expansion, and then I added on the 2-player mats, the double-sided player mat. So
I feel like this game would be like really good for like those people that want to play the game over and over again and like understand it, and then like aren't afraid to just like go at each other, because that's what this game feels like it's going to be. It's like, okay, you're going there, I'm moving this here, and I'm taking that out. Now I'm going here and going there. There's a lot of like, oh, go and take your opponent's like home. Like one of my objectives was like, oh, I have to go and like knock out somebody's home area, and I'm like, well, I should have set myself up better to do that. So then I worked towards doing that in the game, and of course the other player, or I was attacking Sam. I was just marching dragons into Sam's area and eating all the pigs, and he didn't feel very good about it, but I don't care because I don't ask breakfast how it feels. Like, I just eat it, you know?
You don't ask breakfast how it feels. Well, see, that's one of the things that I like about this game, and that's how I felt it was going to play out. So I'm glad you said that, where it is to take that and you don't need to apologize for it. Like,
Yeah.
it's like Risk. You are going to attack because you have to attack. You can't win. Like, just that's how it is. So anyway.
One thing I would like to see more, as the dragons, I didn't have a whole lot of mobility just because I didn't have that many units at all. So like the bugs were on the other side of the board, and I could have wrecked them, but there were so many of them and they're spreading out so fast, and the other two players weren't really able to take care of them. I was like, man, I wish I could just get over there and eat bugs, but there were too many other players in the way, you know. But yeah, that's the sort of thing where on a second play, you're literally, whenever you start the game, you get to choose where your home area is, and you could like put it right beside somebody else's. So
see, that's fun.
It could be intense, you know, especially with the dragons that just like burn everything. It'd be like, if I just set myself right beside the bugs, they're kind of screwed. Like, I don't know.
See,
what
I could go all in for like $60 more. And if you do go all in, there's a whale clan and a dragon clan.
Yeah, the dragons are the ones that I actually played.
That I'm missing out on.
I think you can buy those like piecemeal, like individually. Too,
well, and I'll probably buy them like at cons and stuff like that, because that's one of the things that I like about Gray Fox is they say they're Kickstarter exclusive, but if you ever go to a con, they sell the stuff there that is Kickstarter exclusive, or it's Kickstarter exclusive for like a year, and then they're like, okay, like we need to sell this. Nice. But yeah, the dragons and everything, the Fireborn and the Lords of the Lost Sea. And I'm glad you said the whole thing about their powers and how strong they are, because when I'm looking at these factions, I'm like, are they not complete? Like, is there only one dragon of each? Like, what's going on?
But then is only one dragon of each, sense. And they start as little baby dragons, and you have to like grow them. They're a very weird faction in the game, but I'd play them again, and I think I would do much better the second time.
Well, I'm excited to back it. I'm excited for some of my Kickstarters to start coming in. Hopefully that'll happen. I still have quite a few to come in.
Nice.
So I got to play some games over this weekend.
Awesome.
We had some friends over, but we did all party games. But we played Wits and Wagers, which is always a classic. Had a really good time. I had some people get really upset about some of the answers. It wasn't my fault. I didn't come up with the answers. You know, I was just reading the card, and they're like, "No way, that's true." We got some really lucky guesses. Telestrations, always a classic. Always such a fun game. Like, we were laughing our heads off at some of the people's drawings. I never keep score playing Telestrations.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I've ever kept score ever.
I keep score just because I want people to vote on which one they think is their favorite, but I don't care about the points.
Well, see, yeah, we just whoever got the most laughs, like, oh my gosh. But my favorite part is like when the people really try to draw, but they can't draw, and the picture comes out. Like, we had a lion turn into a demon, turn into Pet Sematary.
Nice.
You know, just like crazy, stupid, silly stuff. And we had this one thing that was like a thermometer that turned it into a cigarette, that turned it into a butt cigarette, that turned into something else. And we were like, a butt cigarette? But that's just, people can't draw. And so somebody's face literally looked like a butt. And they're like, oh, the next person wrote butt smoking or butt cigarette or something. It was we laughed.
I had to
so
draw
hard.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, every time I play Telestrations, like, I
So
like
good.
cry because I'm laughing so hard.
So
Like
good.
it's better than going to like a comedy show. Just play Telestrations, you know.
Just
It's
played
hilarious.
Telestrations. But we also played Happy Salmon.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
Did anybody get
and I
injured?
warned people. I warned people. I was like, look, the first time I ever played this, I busted my friend's 3-year-old son's face. Very first time I played, and we kept playing. And they were like, Robert, that's terrible. And I'm like, you'll understand once we start playing. And once we started playing, they're like, okay, we get it. Like my wife made videos. We played Happy Salmon quite a few times. Everyone was having such a great time running around, and I played with the only people that had played before. I think it was just my wife. Everybody else was brand new, and so they're
Oh
like, "What do we
nice.
do? And what's this?" Everyone had a blast with these games, and so it was just, like I know we talk about them a lot, or I talk about games like this a lot because a lot of times I like to host game night and I like to bring over new people.
Hmm.
Um, and this was one of those circumstances where I got to bring over people that their versions of board games and their mindset is Monopoly,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Or Catan. Like, woo, that's woo, but they don't know about the fun craziness that we know about. And so there was like 8 or 9 of us. No, actually, when it was all said and done, there was 11 of us. Um, Playing games like that and being silly and kind of opening up their world, so much fun. So much fun. And Happy Salmon, man, is jumping up there as like a party favorite. But I think it also helps that like the people I played with, they were all okay with yelling and getting crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and so it worked. It just we had a great time. But again, you guys know those games, and if you don't know those games, you can watch our previous episodes where we talk about those types of games. But had a really good time, and now I'm excited for Recon to get Brass to the table and to reignite the fire under Kent Parker for Shadows over Camelot, and hopefully we can get Nemesis to the table. So we will see.
That'd be awesome. You just gotta like set it up and make it happen.
Yeah, well, I know I've got to like leave in the middle. I've got to leave from like 2 to 4.
Hmm.
I've already got a set appointment that I've got to be at. But the good thing is the appointment's in Kernersville, um, and so I'm gonna try to get to the con first thing in the morning. So Kent and Mark and Courtney, if you guys are listening to this, we can try to knock out Brass first thing in the morning. Because I don't know if Matt will get there first thing. He may come more in the afternoon if he is able to come, and then we'll play Shadows over Camelot in the afternoon, type of a thing. So
Nice.
anyway, I'm excited. It's gonna be a good time.
Sweet.
Sweet.
Awesome, man.
Boom.
Well, I guess we can go ahead and get into our topic, which fits very nicely with what I've been playing, because it is all about factions. Factions
Factions.
in games.
Da 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 da.
I really enjoy games that have factions in them. Because there's all sorts of different ones, mostly like area control style games. But what are some different games that have factions in them?
Well, I mean, we've already mentioned a few: Game of Thrones, Rising Sun, Monster Slaughter, Starship Samurai, Hero of Landaren Sea, Crystal Clans, Risk Legacy, other versions of Risk, Cry Havoc. There are a ton of games that have factions. Song of Ice and Fire. Just absolutely a ton of different games that have different factions. And Scythe has got different factions in it.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Uh, what would you say about like asymmetrical factions in games? Do you normally enjoy the fact that like a game gives you different powers, or do you sometimes like it when they are the same and you go into the game like having the same and know you're on an even footing?
It depends, right?
Hmm.
Like, so when you asked this question, I was thinking like, well, the only one that I really kind of like that's asymmetrical is Blood Rage, because the factions have no say whatsoever, right? It's literally different names for different looking minis, but the Boar clan doesn't have an advantage or
Right.
a power that the Bear clan doesn't have,
Right.
right? And
Well,
so
that's symmetrical, not asymmetrical. Asymmetrical is where they're different.
so to answer the question, I would rather have it where they are asymmetrical,
Right, right.
where they are like unique where one group has got another group. So I'm sorry, I went long way around
Yeah, yeah.
to answer the question. But no, I like it when something is unique because also to me that gives replay value,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Like I want to try, like you were talking about with Tsukiyumi Full Moon Down. Like,
Uh-huh.
all right, well, what if this clan and what if this group and what if that group? And so, I'm excited for games like that, and I'd prefer games like that because it gives a different spin onto the game, and also, the different play styles that the faction gives
Hmm.
is really great. So I would prefer that, but the one that does it for me where it's not that way is Blood Rage.
Yeah. My favorite game, or the game that I feel like is my favorite game right now, is Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. I play the game so much, but I like almost pride myself in the fact of like, oh yeah, I've played like all the factions in this game, and many of them I've played multiple times, and now I'm like, okay, which one have I not played recently, or haven't I played in a long time? I want to try that faction again. Are there any games that like you've played enough to where it's like I've done every single faction in this game? Um, I really enjoy it from all different sides and things like that.
I've got a few games where I've played every single faction, but the top ones that stand out to me, first Game of Thrones.
Yeah, yeah.
I played all of the factions in Game of Thrones. I absolutely love Game of Thrones. And then second, Risk Legacy. In fact, we played Risk Legacy so much we made up our own factions and our own board
That's awesome.
because we just kept playing it and kept playing it. And so that was a lot of fun. Um, I think no, I haven't played every faction of Rising Sun, but I feel like I've played Rising Sun enough where I feel pretty comfortable and confident of like who I want to pick.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Even having not played those other factions, type of a thing. I would say those are the top three that kind of stand out to me of games where I've either played all of them or I feel most comfortable with all the factions.
Yeah, yeah. One of my other favorite games, Twilight Imperium, like has a ton of factions in it, but there's a lot
There's
of them.
no way you
There's a
played with
lot of
every
them that
single
I
faction.
haven't played with, and I'm
Okay.
just like, man, I'd really like to play with this one or play with that one. I mean, I know what they all do, but
Yeah.
it's like, I've never really played the game with that one. And there's some of them that I've played multiple times, and I'm just like, I should try to play something different. But
Yeah.
we normally deal out like two, and then I get stuck with two that I've already played, so then it's just kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Man, we should do a TI4 game day, bro. Oh wait, you moved. You left.
I know, right? And
Crap.
You guys just fly down to Miami. I'll pick you up at the airport. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
totally have time for that, right?
Boom.
Do we got beaches? We can go to the beach.
We got beaches here too, bro.
It's not very close. It's like 4 hours. Come on.
Anyway.
But yeah, cool. Is there a normal strategy that you lean towards when you look for like a faction in these different games?
I have two things that I wrote down for this answer. First, that I look for is roll advantage or attack advantage, right? If I'm going to play with factions and stuff like that, I try to be more aggressive.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking for, okay, what can help me out? And then the second one is if there's really not an advantage for that, or I don't have that option, I would like to play a faction that gets me either more troops or more workers. Like, all right, if I don't get an advantage, then I need men, and I need to be able to pump out men as fast as possible. So I'm trying to pick that faction that helps me pump out guys as quickly as possible.
I think I
How
really
about you?
like stuff that like helps with like the efficiency. Like if it's one of these games that has like resources and stuff like that, like a faction that helps you get resources or get stuff like easier is always fun. Like I the attack factions are awesome, but I'm always scared to play the attack faction, because I feel like you always have a target on your back. If you like grab that guy who's really good at attacking, everybody's like, oh no, they're playing the attack one. Everybody watch your back. And I'm like,
Yeah.
they're already like that anyway, so it just makes it even worse. They like triple down, like Roy's playing the attack guys. Oh no! It's like Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. I shy away from the orcs most of the time because like all of their abilities help you when you're like pillaging and raiding other people. So it's just like they're good at it, But especially since I'm mostly teaching people this game most of the time, I don't want to take the attack faction and just go like jump people all the time. But yeah, it's fun. And then like people that help you spam units out on the board is fun too. Anything like that. I mean, there's all sorts of different variety of stuff. A lot of times I like factions just because of the way they look. Is that weird? Or because they have that interesting little thing? Like I like the Turtle Clan in Rising Sun literally just because they have turtles. They have these turtle castle things that can move. That's basically their ability. But it's turtles. I don't know. That's cool.
I'm with you on that. I would pick the Turtle Clan specifically on looks. Either that or the one that has the guy who he sits on the other guy's like head or shoulders. But yeah, look, because like you and I, we're sort of similar when it comes to this. Like the aesthetics of the game will get us more hype and more excited for the game. Like if the game looks really good and you have good minis, like you'll like, oh man, like I don't know, you just kind of it ramps up the value. At least to me, it does. Where it's like, okay, like I can get behind this. Like I'm the Turtle Clan, and we're gonna like slowly walk over here, but my base is this. Like okay, where it's not just, I'm a turtle and it's a cardboard cutout of a turtle.
The first time you play the game, do you normally pick based off of like special abilities and stuff like that, or you just pick off of whatever you think looks cool?
I would say it's 60-40, and I would say 60% looks, 40% special abilities if I have time to read the special abilities, just because the first time I ever play a game I'm not really expecting to win. Right? And so I'm just going to have fun. So I want to pick something that looks cool because I know I'll enjoy it. So even if all my guys are dead, I'll be playing like army men on my side of the table, just like, being silly with stuff like that. So
yeah, I feel like the first time for me also, like I don't really know the game yet. So like the abilities on like, because majority of these games have factions and abilities and all sorts of like stuff on them. And you're just like, I don't know how this game works. Like, how am I going to know which one is the best one to pick? So I just go based off of, that guy looks cool, this guy looks interesting, this guy looks neat, or this looks fun. If it just sounds fun, it's like, okay, I'll play that instead. Or I'll just play that because it's easier than having someone explain the entire game to you and then pick your faction based off of which one you think is strategically the best. Which I know some people, like, they're into that. But I'll do that on my third play. Maybe not even my second play. Nice.
Yep. Sweet.
So I have a bunch of different games listed that have factions in them, and we're going to say what our favorite factions are in these games. In the first one, I picked an old school miniatures game that neither of us plays.
But I used to play this.
I know, we both used to play it, and I know what your faction is, but I thought it'd be interesting to talk about.
And I know what your faction is.
Right. So yeah, Warhammer 40K, what would be your favorite faction?
My faction was the Imperial Guard.
Yeah.
I love the Imperial Guard because they're terrible and cheap, and you can just throw a lot of units at them. And I like painting the helicopters and the tanks. I picked that one because I thought they had the coolest looking tanks. I mean, that's really why I started buying Imperial Guard stuff. That and then that hover jet helicopter thing. I thought, man, this is really cool. But every time I played against somebody, I would get wrecked. And I was like, oh, that's why nobody plays with the Imperial Guard, really. At least, and this was like 7 or 8 years ago when I was playing. I know that there have been new rules and stuff to come out where they're actually not bad anymore. But at the time,
you never really know with that game where it's like, oh, they put out the new edition, and these guys used to be really good, but now they stink, and these guys used to stink, and now they're really good.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, I always played the Necrons, and I mean, I know I've posted tons on Instagram of like, hey, look at these Necrons I painted up and random stuff like that. But back when I first got into it, I'm like, undead space robots, that seems cool. They're basically like Terminator sort of things, and they get to get back up when they die, very much like undead. But I thought they were cool, and they're all like silver and green, and I thought that was awesome. And they're apparently normally terrible in the game. Good times.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, another really big game that I like a lot, Twilight Imperium. Do you have a favorite faction in this? I mean, I know we haven't played nearly all of them, but I mean, you might have a gist on what some of the different factions do.
Yeah, actually, the last time we played, that was probably my favorite faction to play with yet, and that's
them.
the Necrovirus. Really like the Necrovirus. They're a lot of fun to play
Because you
with.
don't get to be
Uh,
friends with anybody.
you don't get to be friends. It causes you to be aggressive, and like the time
People
we
are
played
scared of
before
you.
that, I can't remember the faction I was, but I spent so much time researching the War Sun,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then you guys pulled a card and everybody got the War Sun, and I was like, screw this. So one of the things I like about the Necrovirus is I don't even have to win a battle. I just have to blow up one of your ships. If you blow up an enemy vessel, whether it's a little fighter or anything, and then you back out, you get to copy one of their technology
Technologies.
cards.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that I really like about that. It's kind of cool and unique. And it also makes it where you can't just pick on one person because if you get all their technology, it's not really going to help you, right? And so you want to attack different people that have different stuff, and you don't care about winning or not.
Hmm.
You just want to like, let me blow up the ship so I can get this thing. So
Yeah, yeah. I think I haven't played with them that many times, but for Twilight Imperium, I think the Jolnar are still my favorite. Just because
that the
like
lion,
no, that's the tech people. Just because like technology is so good in that game, and if you're
yep,
the Jolnar, you can just get tech for
yeah,
free, and it is ridiculous.
it is ridiculous.
They also
Tech
have a
in that
really
game
cool
will make or break the game.
yeah, they definitely they have one of these cool like promissory notes where you can give it to another player and they get the same technology that you got that turn. So and
Yeah,
that means that note is like so valuable. But yeah, the Jonar are like ridiculously good, and so many of the objectives have to do with tech anyway. So it's just like just getting tech is just good in general. They do
it
have like
really is.
-1 to their combat, but they also can get like really good weapons and upgrades really
That
fast.
that even that
So
out
it evens it
rather
out,
quickly.
you
Yeah.
know.
No, Jolnar are good. I've never played with them, but I remember last time, or I remember a couple times playing. They've been in the mix, and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can be a little rough,
Yeah, for sure. You have to be careful because they can get too good too quick, you know.
man. And then when they're getting all these objective points because they have this and they have this level, this thing, and they have this thing, and now they can,
And they're
you know,
fast track on the way to War Sun, you know.
yeah. It's like, oh my goodness, bro. So, all right,
This next one, the powers are very symmetrical, so mostly what you pick it for is aesthetics.
is looks.
Blood Rage. What's your
Uh,
faction in Blood Rage?
Probably the boar, either the boar or the bear clan.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, just because like I feel like I am a small bear
Hmm.
personally, but then I like the new boar clan and the way the figures and stuff are placed on there.
Hmm.
So yeah, the boar, the bear clan, but this stag clan that's coming out later this year,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
pretty excited about it as well. But yeah, you're right. It's literally just for looks.
I like the Ram just because I mean they're green for one, but also
Yeah.
because I don't know, I think their figures look really cool as well.
Yep.
But second to that, I'd pick the bear as well because the bear guys just have like
They're
bear
so
hoods
big. They're just
on
like, "Ugh."
and
Yeah,
like fur coats and all that stuff. They look really awesome
yeah,
as well.
yeah. They're. It's such a good game, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, for sure. So it's just taste on.
This next one was tough for me, Roy.
I know. Well, I specifically put it on the list for you.
This next one was actually very tough, and I have three answers written down.
Risk Legacy.
So you go first. You go first, because I know you haven't played nearly as much
Okay.
as I.
I haven't played it that much, but aren't there like people that have like bears and stuff that they ride on or whatever?
Enclave of the Bear.
Yes, I think that's my favorite is the bear people that ride on bears and things like that. Just because I remember them being pretty cool. I knew you have way more experience in this game than me, but I figured I'd be
I
able to
played.
talk to it.
I played it a lot. So Enclave of the Bear is actually one of my favorites, but here's one of the things that I love and hate about Risk Legacy. When you first pick your faction, when the game first starts off, you get two choices of what powers you want to put on your faction. For a lot of factions, it's pretty easy what power you're going to pick. For example, like Khan Industries, I really like Khan Industries. Their main power that everybody picks is at the start of your turn when you're recruiting troops. Every HQ you gets an extra troop,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
whether it's your HQ or somebody else's, it's a free way to get an extra troop every time. And it's also another great way where if you're gonna like leave your base to go off and fight, your base is still going to get troops, so it will slowly amass its own other army as long as you're being aggressive, pushing out,
Yeah, yeah.
so you don't have to worry about leaving guys behind. So I really like Khan Industries, but I also really like Enclave of the Bear. But here's my problem with Enclave of the Bear. There's two powers that come out with Enclave of the
And
Bear.
they're both good.
One one of them is if you roll natural threes when you're attacking a base, everything, and you kill, if you roll natural three of a kind, while you're attacking a base and you kill an enemy unit, you then not just kill an enemy unit, you wipe everything off of that space, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you completely wipe them out if you roll three of a kind. It's like 1 in like 10 plus thousand rolls to get that, to make that happen. But it's so exciting for people that they pick that one. And I hate that because when you're playing Risk Legacy, like Roy, you may pick Enclave of the Bear the first game, but at game 3 or game 4, I may now have Enclave of the Bear because every game,
Right.
you get to repick your factions and you get to, and so things that I've done to a faction are now going to affect you if you pick them in the future.
Right.
And so people will ruin that faction for me if they pick that power. The other power that I like is on your very first attack, when you're rolling dice, the defense die, they're the lower of the 2 defense die, you -1. So if it's 6 and 6, it's really 6 and 5. So it kind of helps give you a chance. And if they're only rolling 1 dice and they roll a 6, it's now not a 6, it's now a 5. And so now it only goes for like that first big attack, but I like that because
That's
you're
what
always going to
matters the
attack with
most.
Enclave of the Bear. And so that first one you're going into, they're at a disadvantage.
That sounds really
But that
good.
game is so rough, man, because I've had people totally screw a clan, and I've had other people kind of save clans because you get to add stickers onto the clans and jack up powers or take away powers and stuff like that. So, and then my third one in there, and this is a spoiler, for those that haven't played Risk Legacy, is the mutants. Woo! Man, the mutants are hardcore, bro. And they have this one ability that if you get to unlock it, where their 6s win every time. Doesn't matter. Attacking or defending, your 6s win. I mean, I've won a lot of battles as the defender, rolling 6s. And other people rolling 6s, but as the defender, your 6s naturally win. Right?
Yeah.
Not with the mutants. Mutants roll a 6, it's like a nuke. You can't stop it. Their 6s, because that's what the nuke does. You get these nuke tokens. It turns your dice into an automatic 6. So
Right.
even if you do a nuke on a mutant, if they have that part unlocked already, bro, you're done for. They're so great, and their vehicles are dump trucks. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's these zombie looking mutant things, and then their tanks are dump trucks. I just which that's one of the things that you unlock. It's one of the packages that you open. There's actually 2 secret factions that you open, and the mutants. I was thinking about this when you sent the email, and I was like, man, I should play that game again. Like, I need to find a group of people to like. I'll buy another
Just
board
rope them
just to
into
play.
it. You're not
I
allowed
just
to
I love.
leave.
It's just so good.
Nice.
One of my favorite games.
All right, this is back at me very much. Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. I'm going with Lions.
Really,
I like them. I don't know.
even over the new stuff.
Yeah. I like them a lot. Like the Lions are really good, but they also have like ways to get they can build towers in the desert and get like wild resources of whatever type they want, and it's like really good. They also have ways to like teleport from desert to desert. I don't know. It's just really cool the way that the Lions work. So they're my favorite. But yeah, I
Okay.
like the new stuff. The new stuff's cool. I need to play them more. The Merfolk, man. I have seen people play with the Merfolk and get that. See, the Merfolk start with underwater tokens in their area, and the underwater tokens are like high risk, high reward. So like sometimes, like when I played the Merfolk, I got a ton of bad tokens, and it was just really hard to get started in the game. Which if you can't get started in the game, it's really hard.
Yep.
But I saw somebody else do it, and they just got all sorts of like amazing things. So it's one of those things where I feel like the Merfolk are a little bit more of a lucky faction sometimes. You never quite know what you're gonna get, but they're cool because they can like go in the water and like stay in the water and get extra points for that sort of thing. And the
Sweet.
birds can fly off the side and do all sorts of flying stuff. I really do like the birds a lot too, but yeah, I'm definitely going with the Lions.
For me, it's the dwarves or the orcs.
Hmm. Dwarves
I
are
like
really
the
good
dwarves.
too.
The dwarves are really good, but I like the orcs if I'm going to be aggressive.
Hmm.
Um, I just for what you said earlier, they are a pretty aggressive group and bunch, and so sometimes like if I'm playing a game like that, that's a strategy I'll go for because um, it's just easy and I don't have to think about it. It's just attack. So
Yeah.
boom,
All right. The big question here: Game of Thrones.
you go first.
I think I'm gonna have to say Greyjoy.
Really?
They're just like out in the ocean and in the middle of everything. I don't know. People like have to. Somebody has to ally with the Greyjoy, or somebody's gonna get cut off. So it's kind of they're hard to play. I feel like, but they're kind of interesting, and they got them
Okay.
boat bridges. Come on.
Okay. Well, mine's actually on the exact opposite side, and that's the Baratheon. They're also the other island group.
They're actually
Uh,
good though. The Baratheon are really good.
well, the Greyjoys are good. The problem with the Greyjoys is they are right next to the Lannisters and the
And the
Starks.
Starks. They're gonna have
Yeah,
to be
like
real good friends with somebody,
they've gotta group up with one of them.
and the other one
Um,
is going to hate you.
yeah, and so yeah, the Baratheons, people are gonna hate you, but you have a round or two. I feel like with a breather when it comes to like the army, the boat vessels and the naval vessels,
Yeah, yeah.
where the Greyjoys, nope, just moving out of your capital, you're starting a war with either the Greyjoys, I mean, with either the Starks or the Lannisters,
Yep.
and so they're pretty tough. But I really like the Baratheon, because also the Baratheon can be a heavy force on land. Like once they establish their little land bridge, the Baratheons can be they're typically right in the thick of everything, because there's so many castles right in the middle,
Right.
and so yeah, like if I had to choose, but I like playing with all of them, even the Martell. Um, they're a lot of fun as well. Greyjoys actually can be a lot of fun, especially if you don't care. You're just like, you know what, screw this. Just really tick some people off.
You definitely
Because
are
if you
gonna
can
be
own the
fighting with
waterway of
people.
that whole side, because the Starks I think only start with one boat
You
over there.
basically have to. You have
Yeah,
to if
like
you're gonna
you
do
can
anything
really
with
like
Greyjoys.
wreck stuff over there, and then you have so you have the Martells, and then I'm
I've never
going
actually
blank.
played the Martells.
They're the sand people in the bottom right hand corner.
I mean, I know who they are, but yeah.
The green, I can't think of the green faction.
The Tyrells.
The Tyrells,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've played them before too.
Tyrells are pretty good. I think they're kind of lame personally.
You don't like
Um,
flowers? Come on, man.
well, no, they just start off real small. They don't start off like very aggressive or doing anything. But anyway, this was a tough one for me, Baratheon.
Nice.
Boom.
Awesome. Rising Sun.
This to me was no contest.
Yeah,
I like the Dragonfly clan.
they can fly everywhere.
Yeah, I can put my guy wherever I want to on the map. I absolutely love that ability, especially when you're trying to conquer the different colors. I don't have to like go in any order. Like typically when you're got your clan, you're moving your army from color to color so you can win, right?
Yeah.
And then get the next color so you can get the bonus, points at the end. The Dragonfly clan, I'm just going to be crazy. If everybody's in orange and red, great. I'm going to jump over to brown or to blue or purple, or pink, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, the Dragonfly clan.
I like the ones I don't even know their name. The ones where you get to pick the you just get to pick whatever the action is. Like you can turn any tile into whatever action you want. I mean, when you're drafting the actions, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
But those peeps are so cool because like you can turn an action into something else and deny everybody else the action that you got rid of. I don't
Yeah.
know. I think it's kind of cool to be able to like mess other people up. Like, oh, they
Yeah,
want to
you love
harvest
being
or
a jerk.
whatever. I can't
Yeah, you love
harvest
being
right
a
now.
terrible person.
I'm gonna do
Yeah.
this. Hey, the Fox Clan is the worst. Don't even play. The ones that just
Or are they
go into
trying to kill themselves?
every single battle. They're in every single battle, every single time. Oh, there
Yeah,
wasn't
but
going to be a battle
they're
there?
trying to kill themselves.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, you're never quite sure which battle they're actually gonna like try to win.
I've never played a game where the Fox Clan has won. They're annoying, but I've never played a game where the Fox Clan has won.
It's kind of like that Blood Rage thing where you try to die on purpose, but then you want to win that specific
Yeah, but
battle.
you don't get the point multipliers like you do in Blood Rage. You get some multipliers,
You just
and
get
like they
so
have
many
their
points
thing
early
where
game. It's
yeah.
ridiculous.
Anyway, they're not bad. They're not bad.
Nobody expects them not to kill themselves, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, this is the
Nice.
big question right here. I know we both really like this game. I actually played this the other day. I played it
Yeah, how was it?
last Tuesday. Summoner Wars. I love this game.
I do
It
love
was, it
that
was
game
fun.
as well.
I played Phoenix Elves, but I played with a second summoner for Phoenix Elves that I had never played with before, so that was pretty cool.
All right.
Phoenix Elves are
And
cheap though, precise. Definitely not my favorite.
my favorite is the Mountain Vargoth. Those
Oh
big
yeah,
mountain goats. Um, love them. I think that was like one of the very first factions I ever played with,
really?
and I just fell in love with them since then. It was like, okay, like these are my guys. I love the artwork. I love how they're strong and powerful. I just, yeah, they're not the best faction. I can admit that, but I love playing with them more than any other faction.
My favorite is the Shadow Elves, just because they are good at like being aggressive and jumping across, like getting
Yeah,
up in there. They're kind of like a faction that's set up to assassinate, like try to go out there and end the game before the end of the game. Because a lot of
yeah,
these games of Summoner Wars, they end where both players' decks are empty and whoever is set up in the best position can surround the summoner and win. Like Shadow Elves can like jump across the board and get in there and wreck shop before the game's even over. They're like aggro sort of, so they're pretty cool.
yeah. They are pretty cool.
Awesome. What are some ways that publishers and designers can make factions feel different in games, and would you like to see more games have asymmetrical factions in them?
Yes, I want to see more just like that, just for what we said earlier, replayability,
Mm-hmm.
right? If everything's the same all the time, you got to have something like for Blood Rage. It works for me because of the draft,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think Blood Rage would be kind of old by now if it was the same thing every time. So I love the replayability, but I think one of the things that publishers can do, um, powers, right? Powers, and of course, like aesthetics, like make your stuff look cool, like this Tsukinumi, Full Moon. That looks great. It's a good looking game, but I want the powers to be different enough where it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, like I really want to jump in this. I really want to try this thing. I think it's a lot of fun. Um, and I think a lot of companies already do it now successfully. So I don't know what they could do differently, but just, you know, I know it's not great that he said this, but like Eric Lang, when he was talking about like Dice Masters being broken, like, yeah, I don't care. Like, part of me likes that. Part of me is like, you know what? I don't care. It's broken. Like, try to break that type of a thing. Like, these powers are
I,
so crazy. I,
I
I
think I
like,
think that works a lot better in multiplayer games where the players themselves can self
yeah,
balance a little bit. In a
yeah.
two-player game, that's kind of rough.
No, yeah, it sucks. Yeah. But
But in
anyway,
these multiplayer games, it's like, okay, yeah, we know the Joel Nar is a problem. They get all the technology. We can't just let them have everything they want.
yeah.
We got to go in there and mess with them a little bit, or else they're just gonna run away with this thing. Like, let's just go and pick on them. It's like they deserve it. They're winning. So that multiplayer games can help self balance in that way, where players, if somebody's power is really good, people know to watch out for them.
Mm-hmm.
I just love games that have asymmetrical powers, and that's one of the main things that like can draw me to a game immediately, when it's like, oh, what cool thing does this thing have versus that thing? And like you said before, it makes replayability huge, because it's like, I've played the game with this faction, but now I want to try it with that faction, and oh man, I really liked what you had last time. I want to try that out.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just get one that you really like and you're just like, hey, I really want to play that again. So, but what other players are playing could be drastically different.
I'm sort of that way with Champions of Midgard. Like, there's that one girl that I like so much. I try
Yeah,
to pick him every time if I can.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I'd prefer to have the different options. You know,
yeah, for sure. So what is your favorite game that has factions? It's just gonna be our favorite games, I guess.
No, we've already talked about it tonight. I'm not going to say it's the best game, but I absolutely love this game, and that's Risk Legacy.
Hmm.
Um, I've I've played. How about this? I've won 3 boards of Risk Legacy, and if you've played Risk Legacy, you know what that means. I've won 3 boards. No, I take that back. I
Campaigns,
won
like you
four.
won,
I've won four.
you
I've won,
won like the entire like series. You won the
yeah,
entire game out
four
of all
times.
of the all the plays.
Yeah,
That's only like
I've won.
15 plays, right?
It's 50, I think it's 15 games per board. It's either 12 or 15, but I know it's 10 plus games per board. Um, I want to say it's 15. It's 15 games per board. I've won 4, and I absolutely love the game. And I love the choices and the things that makes. Now there are other games that we've mentioned that I think are better overall games. But if I'm going to do like a faction, because these factions can ramp up and get so crazy, like
Hmm.
there's so many powers you can add to a faction. I think at the end of the game, like they'll have, they could have anywhere between 4 or 7 stickers on it, helping it manipulate it, doing all this other kind of stuff. So I absolutely love that.
Nice.
And yours
Mine,
is
mine is
here's
Yeah, mine's Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. But I do want to say that the factions of Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea are, for one, they're pretty different. I mean, they all kind of have like, oh, they do good at this territory or that territory. But one of the interesting things about the game is the way that it's set up is you build buildings to unlock your actual special abilities. Because technically, you don't really have anything different when you start until you unlock your special abilities. Then all the asymmetrical things come out. Because you can't even buy your heroes at first. But when you unlock them, they're all completely different. And then you unlock, depending on the buildings you unlock, allows you to get different special abilities. And you really can't afford to unlock all of the buildings each game. Like, you just can't. Like, there's no way you're going to be able to unlock all of them. I mean,
yeah.
if you do, you're not going to have enough serfs to be able to follow and mine your fields and all that stuff. So, playing the same faction multiple times is interesting because one time you might start with this building and another time you start with a different building, and it can kind of like change your strategy throughout the game. And they all feel very different. So I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoy playing the game over and over again, because it's like, hey, let me try this faction that time or that faction next time. So good times.
Good times.
Awesome. Well, we like games with factions. There's actually a lot of like Euro games which have very asymmetrical factions and asymmetrical things. Like, I know you start with different corporations and like terraforming Mars and things like that.
Yep.
And we talked a
Yeah,
little
that's
bit
a good
about
point. Yeah.
Scythe, which is not really 100% Euro, but you have different factions which are slightly different and start at different places on the board. Dune and Rex is another one which I love, and the factions are extremely different in that game.
Very different.
So whether you're playing the Harkonnen, which get extra traders, I'm just going to call it the Dune stuff now, because Dune's coming back out, so I can pretend like that's relevant now. But yeah, I really like the they're the Jolnar in Rex, but they're the Atreides in Dune. I like them a lot because they get to guess what cards your opponent are going to play and just give you that much more information. I hope they do a good job with that reprint.
I think
They
will.
don't have an excuse not to, you know. I'm real worried though, like that new movie and stuff is coming out. I hope they don't like try to use stills or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be kind of sad.
Yeah, it would be. Like they try to do like the cheap video game version type of a thing where they just copy and paste.
I'm about to say the other game was going for like $200 to $300 online, so please don't mess it up. The new version. Anyway, okie doke. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. We stream these Tuesday night at 9 p.m. at youtube.com/Epic Gaming Night. We do want to say thank you so much to all of our amazing patrons for helping support Epic Gaming Night and helping us to be able to do all the things that we do. And if you want to check us out on Patreon, make sure to check us out at patreon.com/Epic Gaming Night. Also, make sure to check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Epic Gaming Night. I'm still posting things that we're playing and different stuff like that. Make sure to check out Rob at, what is it called?
Board Game Newman.
At Board
Yep.
Game Newman.
At Board Game Newman. I changed it.
We're gonna have to get that on a few more episodes now. So
Board Game Newman. Yeah.
hit it up,
Hit it up.
and you
We
can
appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Have an amazing night. Be safe. Drive home safely. And play board games.
play all
And
the board
come
games.
see me Saturday if you can. Come see me Saturday.
Come see Robert Recon. Book your tickets for Dice Tower Con so you can come hang out with us. Because we're going to have to start thinking up our scavenger hunt stuff soon.
Bro, I'm really, really serious about that the Werewolf Legacy.
Yeah, I realized that it's not in the studio anymore. I don't know what Tom did with it. I'm like, dang it. If it was still there, I was going to be like, dude, let me have that. But
I just got to find somebody who's willing to run it, to MC it, type of a thing. Just because I want to play, I want to be a part of that crazy family,
yeah.
everything that happens. So anyway,
I mean, I had fun running it too, but run the whole thing again, yeah. But
woo!
Rob's like, do it, I dare you.
Hey, to be completely honest, I don't care. If you don't, let's just find somebody to do it. I just want to play.
Dude, I bet you we
I'm
blitzed
really
through
excited.
it like a million times faster than last time, though. So.
Well, I don't think we'll blitz through it as fast because hopefully we'll have more people.
Right. But I'm just saying.
And I imagine
We
with our
won't
group
have
there'll be a
downtime.
lot of yelling.
So
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time, man.
yeah, that would be awesome. So hey, we'll hopefully give you guys more information of Epic Werewolf Legacy. That would be fun.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Even if we have to do something ourselves, we'll make it happen. And I got to start writing down the ideas for the scavenger hunt and to go over all that stuff with you guys. So anyway, good stuff. Everyone have a wonderful night. We appreciate you. Peace, 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 peace.
Peace.